Hey guys, welcome back to another album review. I haven't done an album review in a long time. There's still a couple metal reviews I want to do, but for now I really just want to review the new 3 Days Grace album because it literally just came out today. And I've already given it about 5 listens. I had low expectations for this album because I only enjoyed 1 out of the 3 singles. I wasn't a fan of Human at all. Definitely thought it was their worst album. I thought Matt Walsh, personally, was a mediocre at best singer, and I was not looking forward to this because of that. I was literally dreading having to review this, actually. I remember reading an article on Loudwire, though, about how Matt was a lot more confident this time around with his vocals, and that excited me. I was thinking, okay, maybe there's a little bit of hope, and honestly, listening to this album, that article rings true. I do hear Matt being more confident with his voice in this album. Let's get into the tracks now. With track 1, Right, Left, Wrong. I found it interesting that they made this the opening track since it was the 3rd single, and this one's the one I enjoyed, so I was pretty happy that ended up being the opening track. I like this song mostly because it sounds like a throwback to 1X. I have some issues with it concerning the production of it because the drums kind of sound weird in the bridge. I feel like they're too loud. I thought some of the lyrics were a little repetitive, like the runaway line I was talking about in one of my other videos. I thought that was a little bit strange. And some of the lyrics are a bit too angsty. The guitars have more punch to them than most of the other songs. It showed off Matt's higher range with him belting pretty high. I did not know he could really sing like that until I listened to this. And that's mostly because I did not get into My Darkest Days. I've never listened to them. And on Human, he really didn't show off any range. I like the structure of it. I like the bridge. I really just like a lot of things about this song. It's a very solid song. Now track 2 is The Mountain. This was a very underwhelming first single. I kind of briefly reviewed it, but not really, so I'll go into more depth. It's a pretty generic pump-up anthem about never giving up. The opening riff just sounds muddy and gross. I've heard this song so many times now, I don't want to voluntarily listen to it again. The lyrics are repetitive to a fault. It gets on my nerves hearing keep climbing the mountain like 1,000 times in only 3 minutes. And the best thing it has going for it is its catchy melodies overall. When I gave it like a 5 out of 10 or whatever, I would still agree with that actually. Moving on to track 3, we have I Am an Outsider, which is sort of like a title track actually. Yet, this is probably the least interesting song on the album. I'm literally mind blown that 3 Days Grace thought it was a good idea for this to be a single. It's slow paced, very boring radio rock, and it just has the most terrible, generic, relatable lyrics ever that sound like they were written by a preteen. And it's about like not fitting in, not caring about the in crowd or whatever the heck. And I swear, if this song came out when I was 12, I would have been all over it. I would have loved this song, but now I just see through all the crap of like it being very disingenuous. They just took the easy route when it comes to everything. The structure, the lyrics, the production, the guitar work, like everything is just boring about this song. So track 4 is Infra-Red, and this is actually the first song on the album that isn't a single, and it's a lot more entertaining than the last couple songs. The guitar work is pretty good. I like how the guitars drop in and out as Matt is singing in the chorus. It kind of lets his voice shine a little bit. And the moody verse, it's very typical of old 3 Days Grace, I thought, and it's a very solid 3 Days Grace song. I mean, it's nothing too special. Track 5 is Nothing to Lose But You. I thought the song title was so stupid when I first saw the track listing. I was like, I'm not looking forward to this. It turns out it is a slower song. There's an acoustic guitar in the beginning of this song, and the echoing of the instrument work, it really complements this ballad. Surprisingly, Matt's voice is one of the best things about this song, especially when he sings I Don't Know If I'll Be Alright. I really like the way he kind of phrases the word alright. It's a little bit generic in the chorus, I think. It's a little bit of a generic acoustic ballad, but the verse is where it really shines. I really do think it's one of the best verses on the album, and one of the best songs lyrically, which is kind of weird because the lyrics are pretty much decent. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not too amazing. It's a good song. I really like it. Track 6 is Me Against You. This might be my least favorite on the album, but probably not. At least it's like entertaining. I don't know. It has a lot of personality to it, and it starts off moody and quiet, okay? Matt's voice ends up being more gritty and loud as he sings as the song goes on. until he reaches the pre-chorus, where for a split second he actually sounds like Chester Bennington a little bit. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. I don't think anyone's actually pointed that out yet, but I thought when he sings the words, and the pain I feel seems to make you, I thought he sounded kind of like Chester. I don't even know what this is, but there's this slow, kind of bland, walking up and down guitar riff, and then Matt randomly blurts out, that, and it's executed so awkwardly, it makes me want to just scream, shut up, whenever I hear it, to be honest. The lyrics are just so whiny. I don't really know what they were trying to accomplish with this, other than maybe making people laugh. I hope we're not supposed to take it seriously, because I can't take it seriously. Track 7 is Love Me or Leave Me. I think I take back the statement about I Am an Outsider being the most boring song on the album, because this is probably a little bit more boring actually. The song does absolutely nothing for me. It has some guitar picking, some awkwardly muted, distorted guitars in the chorus that they just kind of sound like noise, to be honest. They don't sound like actual guitars. There's the vocals, which have no emotion to them, nothing really to them, extremely repetitive lyrics, and that's really it. There's really nothing else to this song. It's non-threatening, non-offensive, it's tame, it's a slower song, it's whatever. It's kind of one of my least favorites because I don't really have much of an opinion on it. And then we get into track 8, which is Strange Days. This verse here has a nice pace to it. I like the kind of distorted bass line it has. And the chorus is kind of bland, with okay melodies. It's really nothing too special. And some backup vocals doing the predictable millennial whoop or whatever the heck. Yeah, it just seems like a pure filler song. It could have come off of Human easily. Track 9 is Villain I'm Not. This is one of the better songs on the album. It has some really good vocal melodies in the chorus. I like the kind of pause Matt does between feel better, the two lyrics feel better. A way to improve it though would be to speed up the two words instead of being like feel better. It would be like feel better or something like that on the last chorus. Like only do it in the last chorus, because that way it can throw the listeners off, kind of bring for like, I don't know, like a change a little bit, you know, make it a little bit more interesting. I don't care for the mixing in the guitars in the pre-chorus. The lead guitar is a little too loud, I think, but it's a solid song compared to some of the other songs. Now track 10 is Chasing the First Time. This song's intro sounds a lot like a cross between Chalk Outline and The Resistance by Skillet. I'm actually a fan of Chalk Outline, but I'm not a huge fan of The Resistance, so that was whatever to me, the intro, really. It's a little too slow-paced for its own good. I think if the tempo was sped up a little bit, it would be a little bit more interesting. It wouldn't drag on so much. I don't necessarily enjoy Matt's singing style in this song. It annoys me how many times he repeats the first time in the song. The bridge is laced with some generic whoa vocals, of course, because you can't have a generic song without whoa backup vocals, of course. I assume the lyrics were actually talking about like the band's career, like chasing after the success of like 1X, you know, how the band got so huge. I thought that that was what 3 Days Grace was like chasing after in this song, but then I heard that Matt was singing The First High is a subject that so many people have written about, and it's just tiring at this point that they would release a song like this. It's just not a very strong song in any way, shape, or form. I don't really like a whole lot of musical aspects of it. I don't like the lyrics. I don't really like much about it, to be honest. Now track 11 is The New Real, and to be honest, I used to think this song was actually called Somebody Special because Matt says that so many times in the chorus, but it's not actually. I have a pretty unpopular opinion about this song, apparently, because I've seen some people say like this song's kind of weird, you know, and it is kind of weird, but I think it's actually one of the best songs on the album. The lyrical content is very strong for 3 Days Grace. In the verse, at least, I think that they're making a good point with the message and everything. I see a lot of people criticizing the lyrics in the chorus, and I understand why. There are some very cringe lyrics in the chorus because it's talking about somebody special is a gangster wannabe. That's like one of the lyrics, which is kind of stupid to hear 3 Days Grace say the words gangster wannabe. Like, that's weird to me. But at the same time, I kind of understand why they're doing it. They're trying to explain all these different people and their situations, good, bad, or neutral, as someone special. Whether it's a very nice message about how everyone's special, or it's an ironic message about how nobody's special, I don't know, but I like how much attitude and personality this song has. I love how upbeat it is. It's got a fast pace to it. Like, if this song was as slow paced as Chasing the First Time, I would not have really liked it, to be honest. Some of the execution wasn't there, some of it was. I thought overall it was good. Now, track 12 is The Abyss. This is the closing track to the album. I was very intrigued by this song title. It's literally about giving up, walking off the ledge, and falling into the abyss. And it directly contrasts The Mountain, because that was the second song on the album, and The Mountain is all about climbing the mountain. This song's all about walking into the abyss. So that was weird. It's an extremely negative song to be a closing track. I don't think 3 Days Grace is very good at communicating this negative message. I feel no empathy when I look at these lyrics. I mean, they're just kind of immature. The musicality of the song is really good, though. I think that makes it one of my favorite songs on the album. Matt's vocal performance is very good in this song. He demonstrates the appropriate emotion and rasp and everything very well, especially range. He has a good range in this song. And you can tell they specifically constructed this song to be the closing track. It just screams closing track. I don't know how else to explain it. And so I appreciate the effort they put into this one, and I like some of the chord progressions that the guitars are doing. But we have to address something that is very weird. What is up with the scream in this song? Maybe it's because I never checked out My Darkest Days. I don't know if Matt has screamed in that band or not, but I've never heard Matt scream before, and I didn't even know he could do it. I didn't even know he would do it, and he only does it once on this album, and I'm really confused, because that's literally the last vocal we hear on the whole album, is this long, high-pitched scream, and it just shocked me. What is that? Please, let's get more of that. I wish he would have screamed a couple more times on the song. There are certain spots in this song where it's just instrumental, but I think he could have screamed there too and it would have sounded good. But it did really surprise me, as you can tell. I'm glad that he screamed at all, I guess. It's a good closing song. Overall, Outsider really just exceeded my expectations. To be honest though, my expectations were so low that they were almost non-existent, so it wasn't really hard to do that much. It has highs and lows. The first track, the fourth, fifth, and the last 2 songs are my favorites on the album. The rest of the songs were complete snooze fests, to be honest, and Matt sounds significantly more sure of himself on this album. The lyrical content, pretty immature, pretty boring, to be honest. I think it's 3 Days Grace's biggest weakness right now, and weird production is probably their second biggest weakness, because there are some weird production choices in this album, Me Against You is the prime example of that. They finished off this album very strongly, so I'll have to give it a light 6 out of 10. And that is my score for right now. If the album grows on me a little bit, it'll become a moderate 6. If the album kind of isn't as good to me in the future, then it'll be down at a strong 5 out of 10. You'll just have to check the description to see if I still agree with my score. That is my review of Outsider by 3 Days Grace, the new album that just came out today. I really want to hear your guys' opinions on it, and I want to hear what song was your favorite, what song was your least favorite. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video.